We start with CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini with a bombshell report on sterigenics and what the public doesn't know.
Other hand, buddy.
To say Matt Haller is a fighter is an understatement.
So you were 195.
I was 195.
Now
I'm 120.
120 pounds.
Yeah.
The 45-year-old has been battling stage 4 stomach cancer for the last year and a half.
It used to be a nice bicep there. Now it's just a scrawny mass.
He was healthy, played hockey, and skied mountains, and loved his career at ESPN in sales.
I had a future that, had success written on it, and now I have no future.
Now he's fighting to stay alive long enough to make a few more memories with his greatest loves, his wife Colleen and his son Cullen, who just turned 4. But there's another fight going on over this medical supply sterilization company, Sterigenics.
You shut them down immediately and get them out of our town. We don't want you here anymore.
They fear a dangerous gas used in the sterilization process and spewed into the air, called ethylene oxide, is what led to cancers in their neighborhoods.
To just think that, wake up one day and that this company could have been literally behind my death is it's shocking. It's utterly shocking.
It's hard because I work there. It's hard to sleep at night.
Tonight, former Sterigenics employees break their silence to CBS 2, alleging the company ordered workers to dump toxic chemicals directly into the public sewer system and covered up just how much they emitted into the air.
So you believe that company knowingly sent that chemical out into the atmosphere, knowingly endangering the lives of people?
Yeah, I firmly believe that.
Year after year?
Yes.
According to the EPA, the chemical is linked to several cancers. The CBS 2 investigators obtained documents showing the company was even warned about the risk by the Illinois EPA 35 years ago. One of those cancers is stomach cancer.
God forbid they're doing what they say that we understand they're doing, and they're poisoning this community, then they need to pay for what they've done. And I don't mean monetarily. People should be going to jail.
We'll wash right into the drain pit, which went out to the sewer system.
Former workers who don't want to be identified and past employees who gave these sworn declarations now are revealing inside secrets. They accuse the company of taking excess ethylene oxide and improperly dumping it.
They would have us hose it down, scrub it out, and then squeegee it right into the drainage pits.
That was just washed also into the public sewer system.
Yes.
And they say plant supervisors would take ethylene oxide's byproduct, ethylene glycol, what's found in antifreeze, and dump that too into public sewers.
And in doing so, they did it for profit?
Agreed.
Former workers say another way to avoid shutdowns, they manipulated alarm systems meant to warn workers when they were overexposed.
So in essence, they kind of rigged the system.
Absolutely.
So you worked with people who died of cancer?
Yeah.
And even when the warning monitors did go off, they say work still didn't stop. In this statement, a forklift operator said there were frequent warnings, but he was repeatedly told to ignore it, not talk about it, just deal with it, or don't work there. It says he was told to just open the doors and let the gas out.
Those who weren't using the mask would have to evacuate the area. However, it happened so many times, it would just blow it off. Be like, just leave the doors open and it'll clear out.
You believe they were sending more of this stuff out their stacks, out their side vents, out their doors than they ever reported to the EPA.
Definitely.
And they say dangerous vapors continue to pour out after products were sterilized while they sat in ventilation rooms called aeration rooms. The process is called off-gassing. Workers said doors to those rooms were often left open, and when their exposure got high, workers were told to open outside doors to get rid of it.
They put not only workers at jeopardy, but the public at jeopardy.
Absolutely.
There's not a day that goes by that I'm not in pain.
Catherine Howard has lived 7 blocks from Sterigenics since 2002. She, like Haller, who lived about a mile away, have stomach cancer.
My fear is that it is inside of each of my children, just waiting.
She blames the company for her cancer and the EPA too.
They're the ones that are regulating. They're the ones that are giving them the operating permits.
The EPA has known the dangers for decades and even warned the company back in 1984 about the cancer risks. Then, operating as Griffith Laboratories, the company wanted to add more sterilization chambers. The EPA said the company's 40 tons of ethylene oxide already being released was several magnitudes higher than desirable, and warned they were releasing it at levels 14 times to 445 times the acceptable levels in a 1-mile radius around the plant.
They knew. They had to have known.
What did the EPA do? They let them expand anyway.
They're the ones who are, responsible for protecting the residents.
The company, also in 1984, was ordered by the Illinois EPA to do ambient air testing for ethylene oxide and provide a report a year later. The CBS 2 investigators requested those records. The EPA said they don't have them.
Do you feel like the government failed you and everyone else?
Whether they did it intentionally or unintentionally, they failed us.
Was there any agency that they feared?
No.
Former workers say state and federal EPA oversight was a joke.
I don't think they really cared. They had a lot of fronts.
The EPA even allowed the company to do its own emission testing and reporting, even though in 2002 the company was accused by the U.S. EPA of failing to install monitoring systems and failing to keep emission records.
The lady that runs that place now came from the EPA.
He's talking about Sterigenics CEO Kathleen Hoffman.
We too were surprised with the results and are trying to work with the agencies to address these issues.
She declined to be interviewed about the new allegations, but there's even more. These workers say before Sterigenics added a second warehouse across the street, there were 3 more places used for off-gassing. This yellow warehouse a few blocks away and 2 others in Burr Ridge. All 3 places are near homes. We could find no record those places were ever inspected by the EPA.
If that's what went on, then hell isn't hot enough for them.
Sean Collins, one of 30 attorneys working together to sue Sterigenics on behalf of people with illnesses tied to ethylene oxide exposure, says the cancer risk is 64 times higher around the plant.
If a company is falsifying reports, disregarding reports, operating in a way that is not allowed by law, it's breaking the law.
What happened to workers who complained about safety?
They got canned.
Was it your birthday? Did you just have a birthday?
Yeah. I want to know the truth. I want to make sure that my son is going to be okay.
My son's 4 years old, and you really wonder, is he going to remember me? I'm not going to be able to teach him how to play hockey, and, so much loss. When you look forward, you just see loss.
There are 20,000 people in several schools in that 1-mile radius. Sterigenics says it followed regulations and denies it dumped or emitted illegally and has no evidence to support any rigging of monitors to protect worker safety. They say they never off-gassed at any other warehouse and will defend itself in court. The Illinois EPA takes the allegations we uncovered seriously and will fully investigate. The governor's office is also watching, and they say they have new leadership there now at the EPA.
This group of U.S. senators and representatives today called for the EPA to open a criminal investigation into allegations of misconduct raised by former employees against senior management at Sterigenics.
It's hard because I work there. It's hard to sleep at night.
These former employees spoke exclusively to the CBS 2 investigators.
CBS in Chicago revealed a few days ago that ethylene oxide was often released directly into the air.
On the U.S. Senate floor yesterday, Senator Dick Durbin expressed his concern about what these workers revealed to our CBS 2 investigators.
These 2 senators and our delegation take this very seriously. This is a public health risk.
Breaking right now, the Sterigenics facility in Willowbrook has been virtually shut down by the Illinois EPA. Areas of the plant that use ethylene oxide have been sealed off.
The Illinois EPA wants to stop further emission of the ethylene oxide gas that has been linked to cancer.
Under hospice care, Matt's final message. Good evening, I'm Brad Edwards.
And I'm Erica Sargent. He battled cancer and fought to get the word out about a dangerous chemical coming from a plant near his home.
And before he died, Matt Haller wanted to share a final message with our Dave Savini. Dave?
Brad and Erica, I first met Matt in January. When I learned he entered hospice care last week, I stopped by to say goodbye. But Matt wanted us to get the camera to do one final interview about his fight and the community he loved.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, we had some good times.
2 cousins spend time together reminiscing about what was. Years of trips that had them flying high, especially Matt Haller, who dominated the slopes. And here, just last year, Matt even managed to make one more guy's trip to Utah after starting chemo treatments for stomach cancer.
The barrel is empty, and there's not much left, but I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight.
These are pictures of Haller, full of life and thinking about his future, before the cancer ravaged his body.
Oh, I'm down to 100 pounds. I've lost almost 100 pounds.
When we first met Matt Haller in January, he was undergoing chemotherapy. He wanted to speak out because he was concerned his cancer may have been caused by ethylene oxide from this medical supply sterilization company, Sterigenics.
To just think that, wake up one day and that this company could have been literally behind my death is shocking. It's utterly shocking.
As he fought for more government oversight into ethylene oxide emissions, he also struggled to live longer and create a few more memories with his wife Colleen and son Cullen.
My son's 4 years old, and you really wonder, is he going to remember me? I'm not going to be able to teach him how to play hockey, and, so much loss. When you look forward, you just see loss.
2 months after that interview, he wanted to do one more final interview, even though he knew it was hard to see him this way. Though his body was failing, his spirit was full, and his mind was clear.
And they're just trying to keep you comfortable now.
Now I'm just, now it's all about easing into, the unknown.
Questions about whether Haller's cancer is linked to ethylene oxide in part dates back 35 years. The CBS 2 investigators obtained this 1984 letter written by the Illinois EPA. It warns the company, then Griffith Laboratories, of cancer dangers associated with ethylene oxide, listing cancers of the pancreas, bladder, brain, central nervous system, and stomach.
Everything needs to be uncovered here. Everything needs to be uncovered.
Haller shared his story hoping someone would listen and investigate the cancer cases in Willowbrook, the community he lived in for 9 years.
Well, my fight has become all about whistleblowers.
He wants more whistleblowers to come forward, like these 2 former Sterigenics employees who spoke exclusively to us, claiming the EPA did not know the actual amount of ethylene oxide released by the company.
You believe they were sending more of this stuff out their stacks, out their side vents, out their doors than they ever reported to the EPA.
Definitely.
It's hard because I work there. It's hard to sleep at night.
What was your reaction when you finally did see the whistleblowers coming forward to us?
Oh, it was like a dream come true. I couldn't be happier. It's what it's all about for me now. Whistleblowers, whistleblowers. Come forward, tell your story. Tell us what you know. Let's fight this for the community. Please.
Matt Haller's story also prompted a 3rd former Sterigenics worker to come forward.
I feel bad, like when I found out about the one that's dying of cancer, he's leaving his 4-year-old son. That hurt me the most.
Mike Morales spoke about gas leaks at the facility.
The chambers would run different cycles. They would leak gas a lot of times, swear to God.
The fact that Morales spoke out deeply touched Haller.
Thank you for that whistleblower that came forward, because you made a real difference.
He hopes more will come forward.
God forbid, they're doing what they say that what we understand they're doing, and they're poisoning this community, then they need to pay. And I don't mean monetarily. People should be going to jail.
Last month, the state EPA put a seal order on the company, preventing it from using ethylene oxide.
I was exuberant. I couldn't have been happier.
And as we said goodbye to each other...
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Dave. You've been great.
Matt wanted to remind us of others who are sick, and as lawsuits have been filed by community members, he wanted to express his concern about ethylene oxide possibly causing cancers in the community. And he wanted to remember people like Catherine Howard, who has stomach cancer, Jana Kanev and Jean Hohalter, breast cancer, Petko Kanev, bladder cancer, and Julian Glick, leukemia. More reasons why Haller wants the fight for answers to continue.
Sterigenics and their lawyers continue to fight in court to open again.
They're going to fight, so we have to continue to fight too.
Last Saturday, a day and a half after we sat down together, Matt Haller lost his cancer battle. This makes him the first litigant to pass away after filing a lawsuit against Sterigenics. He was 45 years old.
Haller was working with state officials trying to create a Matt Haller law. Although it is not complete, it would require ethylene oxide air testing and mandatory notification when leaks occur. Sterigenics has denied claims made by the former workers and has said they operate well within regulatory limits. There is a link to his family's GoFundMe page to help with his medical bills on CBSChicago.com. What he endured, he's one of the most incredible people I've ever met.